Greetings, Kindred. I am voivodemekhet, and welcome back to our world of darkness and the second episode of the Fort Myers by Night City of Palms ST Journal. So this is for session 2, which took place on, what month is it now? September 7th. We ended up not being able to throw game last month, unfortunately, due to the fact that we had a hurricane come through the city, so everything was postponed. I hope everybody who was in the path of said hurricane, which was Debbie, was able to come out of that on top. I hope nothing too bad occurred, because hurricanes are not fun. Being a Floridian, I'm totally used to that one. Anyway, so we ended up having to skip it, which was the tea party plan, which our character Giselle, who is being played by Lorlor, also known as Serendipity, to those of you who are not used to the fact that we're kind of simplifying the Serendipity to Lorlor at this point, who is also effectively my assistant storyteller. Because this was planned out because I was going to be at Gen Con, which I was. In fact, Lorlor would be doing the recap for Session 2 if a game had occurred. But unfortunately, while I was out of town, it was not able to happen. But the story did commence the next month, and we basically just used real life as the example of why the Kindred event of the Tea Party was postponed as well. There was a hurricane that came through, and the venue that it was planned to be held at, which is the Burroughs home in Fort Myers, Florida, which is a very gorgeous historical building, which the game was set in but not actually played in, because we don't have the money for that kind of stuff. Anyway, that shuts down during hurricanes, obviously, so we were not able to hold the Elysium, or it's not even really an Elysium yet because there's no prince in the city. So anyway, everything got postponed and brought in the second, or for the next month in September, which is what we did instead. The game went great. This video actually should probably be a lot shorter than the last one, due to the fact that I'm not going over many logistics. We did have a couple of upgrades. We initiated lanyards into our out-of-character gameplay, which is on the red, yellow, and green spectrum of colors, which basically just means that if you are wearing a green lanyard, you are all up for hugs and handshakes and hands on the shoulder and surprise, like conscientious grabs. Yellow is where you have to ask if it's okay. Hey, do you mind if I put my hand on your shoulder, or something like that, involving the game. And red is just don't even bother asking. This is a person who does not want to be touched. We also had, I think, maybe one addition. Actually, no, I don't think we did. You know what? In between the games, we did have one addition added to our RPG checklist. I want to again thank the community member Awakening Sin for bringing this checklist to like my like acknowledgement. The fact that I know that this thing exists now is is amazing. It's basically again the green, yellow, red um, way of handling things, where it's like either yes, no, and that's how we're handling our lines and veils for the game. Um, and it's a living. We've decided that it's a living document. Like the people can always add more to this thing, and it's coming out really well. And so anyway, while I was gone at Gen Con, um, a couple of the players, Lore and also Daviga, um, basically went out and made sure that they had everything they needed to throw a massive tea party. They raided the Goodwills and the thrift shops and bought every like 99-cent teacup they could find. They got some bottled, like some jugs of gallon water ready to go. And when we arrived at game, we brought Insta boilers and tea, and we literally had tea party. It was a really interesting event because I had already decided that I was not going to be that active during the tea party due to the fact that this was Lore's thing, and I didn't want to mess with what had already been planned. And it went really, really well. The whole idea was that Lore's character, Giselle, was throwing this event so that she could get to know the Kindred of Fort Myers, Lee County. And Daviga's character, who I do not know that well yet. I'm still trying to get the names of everybody. But Daviga's character effectively acted as the herald for this event. We did our pre-game. Everybody headed back outside. And then Daviga's character allowed them to come in one at a time. And when they each came in, he announced their names, such as like, oh, such and such person from the clan of the Rose, you know, and it was done very well. It was a lot of fun. Everybody came in, they made their tea, they talked to the hostess for a little bit. One of the characters, actually, I have a list of character names right here. I don't even know why I'm sitting here talking about this, as if I don't know. But one of the characters, who is being played by I can just say a veteran gamer at this point, Josh, who I've known for years. He's been in attendance since the first game that I've ever known. He's playing a man named I'm gonna brutalize this name because I haven't heard it. I only see it written. Akif Kaseb. I suck. I'm sorry. He's playing an Obertus Revenant. Actually brought a gift to the hostess, which was a bell, which is supposed to like bring good luck and stuff like that. There was like a whole reason why he brought this stuff, and oh my god, it was very amazing, because at that point, when everybody was in and enjoying the time where they could just talk to each other, throughout the night, we would hear the bell going, and that was summoning Daviga's character to get the next person, so that Giselle and their assistant Elizabeth basically did a one-on-one orientation to find out what the individual characters in the city thought, these independent vampires thought, about a Camarilla presence coming into the city. Now, unbeknownst to the rest of the players, and I say that very loosely because I'm sure a lot of them figured it out ahead of time, I brought in a new character who I was introducing to everybody as Abraham, or Abe, who was just trying to be pleasant, getting to know everybody. I talked to everybody individually, and towards the end of the night, a couple of people had already figured it out, that Abe was in fact the prince who was coming in to claim praxis in the city, and was kind of pulling a whole undercover boss situation where he was just trying to get to know everybody before before everything like got too crazy. We also had a new player come into game by the name of Phoenix, and Phoenix has brought in a Brujah by the name of Proudmoore, who has been sent by the Camarilla to make sure that the prince is not sucking at his duties. And there seems to be like some rivalry between Proudmoore and Abraham. Because Abraham he's a very aggressive character. In fact, at one point in time, he was not having fun with the fact that we have Father Michael, who is a human who is made his way into this group and seems to have some abilities of his own, but nobody really. I don't know. There's just so much of a why is he here situation, and also wanting to keep him around at the same time. I don't know. He seems to have some kind of just a charismatic air about him that gets him a free pass. I don't really know. All we know is that he is a priest. He is trying to save the souls of the Kindred of Lee County, and he and several other vampires are working on creating a clinic that is basically safe to bring ghouls to, safe for if for some reason Kindred needed medical attention of some kind. It's actually not a bad idea. But basically, they realize that there's so many doctors that are so many Doctor Kindred in the city that they're trying to form a Kindred style clinic with a chaplain. It's really an amazing story the way that it's going out. And it's hard for me to give you a full recap on what's going on because there's so many moving parts and so many players that I'm not directly involved with yet. Because I'm trying to give the players their space. I jump in if a test is needed, if we are if a contest comes up, a conflict between players, or a static challenge is needed. But for the most part, if my character, who I'm playing for the night, because I try not to, I don't want to go, and there's 8 NPCs here, and I'm playing all of them at once. Look for the hat or the name tag. I don't do that. I try to do one NPC per session so that it's not too overwhelming for people. And when Proudmoore threw in his hat to be sheriff, and everybody was like, oh, he is way too aggressive for this city for that. One of our resident retirees, we actually have a couple of vampires who were part of the Camarilla, who after the Sept War, because they took the Sept War veteran lore sheet, decided that they were going to retire in Florida. When Proudmoore put his hat in the ring for that, one of our retirees stood up and went, you know what? Maybe I'll dust off the retirement thing and come in and do this, because it seems the Camarilla has changed. Because when I finally did come out, actually I can't even say that, because it was even before that, because I was talking up the Camarilla the whole time. I was getting to know people, asking their opinions of the Camarilla, because I'm already going to go back and double check all the notes and stuff that were taken by Giselle during her interviews. But I wanted to get to meet the city of the city's people before I came in and claimed Praxis. But I had already been talking about how things had changed a little bit. That led basically explaining the new way that status works without confusing the players who had played in older systems, by making it look like things had effectively just rolled over, that things had changed, which works very, very well, mind you. I love the new status system and the way that it works. So basically, I just tried to get as many people sympathetic to what I was trying to say as possible, because as Prince, I don't want a war to break out. When eventually I did end up saying, like, okay, listen, I am here because I'm claiming Praxis. I didn't come in here to ruin people's lives. My character has basically was happy to answer whatever questions. I tried to be as charismatic and as jovial as possible. Um, and for the most part, the Kindred have at least outwardly expressed that they are okay tolerating my character coming in as Prince. These are a bunch of independent vampires that do not want to be ruled whatsoever. However, I told them that if it's not me, it's going to be somebody else. And I'm not here to upheave anything. That I'm just there to answer to the Camarilla so that they can just continue upon their normal unlives. And that I would like to build, because I need to build a court, that I'd rather take from the city than basically bring in higher management from out of town. So there's a lot of people who are just like, oh, I don't want this here, but it could be worse. And also, we don't want to be connected to the Camarilla, but we also don't want others that are like classically Camarilla to come in and start telling us what to do. So we ended this with me pretty much just saying, listen, I'm not going to ask who it is. I'm not going to ask what your viewpoints are politically. But if I can count on your support as Prince, please go tell Giselle, and she'll make some innocuous hashtags basically so that I know how much support I have. And also so I can tell how many people are Camarilla loyalists, so I can send that to the Camarilla without names, just so we have the record and the Camarilla's minds are eased. And that worked out so well. I'm sure I have plenty of people plotting against me. I really hope I do. The next session is supposed to be our first legit Elysium event, which is going to be held during the grand opening of the clinic. So they're going to be doing a grand opening gala event for the clinic, which my Prince has already stated that he will be happy to fund, to make a sizable donation, because he thinks it's a good idea. Um, so the next event is going to be held at the clinic in character. We've been playing at Cool Comics and Games in Cape Coral, Florida. However, with how many people are on our registry, I have been concerned with the fact that we're actually we had 19 people on the first night. We're in the 30s at this point, and it's steadily climbing. We needed more room, so unfortunately, we had to tell the amazing proprietor Tom at Cool Comics that due to the fact that the registry is so big, on the off chance that everybody shows up at once, we need to have a larger location. So this past game will be the last time that we're playing at Cool Comics in Games for the time being. Tom was awesome and said that it is open for us to come back if we need to. But we are going to start playing at Lost World Books in downtown Fort Myers, which is located at, I'm just reading it off the card here, 1815 Fowler Street, Unit 3 in Fort Myers, Florida, 33901. For those of you who are local, and for those of you who might be coming for the first time, or are interested at all and are in the area, it is at the old Butterfly Estates, which sadly shut down a little while ago because, I mean, I always found those to be, it's a Fort Myers institution. However, the grounds are amazing, and I spoke to the owners tomorrow. From when I'm recording this, I am going to be going over there to discuss with the owners the details. But for right now, from what I understand, we have 3 rooms. We have the vinyl room, which has bathroom access, thank God. The sunroom, which I find massively hysterical considering the fact what we're playing, and an upstairs room, which is very cool. And we have all outside to play in. So we have room for our players, and the game continues. The thing that we're going to have to figure out though is how we're going to deal with the whole concept of our after events, because we started the first time, and we did it again this time, was we all went to Denny's afterwards and talked about game and got to know each other a little bit better, because a lot of us are just meeting for the first time, and it's very fun to have that outside connection outside of game, dropping the character and basically re-entering the real world with these people. I find that important in a LARP setting, to be able to cast off the character, put yourself back in control, and basically just get life going back to normal. Yeah, we don't get home till like 3 o'clock in the morning, and we're all exhausted, and we definitely do sleep in the first Sunday of the month. But it's very nice to be able to just like take a moment, breathe, be yourself, eat a plate of nachos or something like that, and then go home. So that's pretty much everything that I have to report on right now for the second session of City of Palms. I think that we will get more information about what happened during the second session when we get closer to October, because the Our Story in Memes video will come out when we start approaching that third session. So basically, we'll get the second session in memes from the other from the players. In fact, it's already starting to fill up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got well over a dozen, maybe 2 dozen memes already added to this thing. In fact, I'm looking. The first one was done by Sam, who is my child. I am 50% responsible for the I'm 50% responsible for the DNA that went into this one. And I think he put this up, looking at it, 9/7/10:57 p.m. He put this up during the session. So he was already on top of stuff. Other than that, all I can say is I am extremely excited to see where this LARP is going. The player base is amazing. I'm so glad to be reconnecting with some of the players that I used to play with before events like the lockdown happened, and new players that I'm getting to meet. Some of them are completely new to World of Darkness and Vampire the Masquerade. Other ones have always wanted to LARP and never had the chance. I don't know. I'm back in my element. I'm very excited to be here and to be experiencing a LARP. By Night Studios, thank you for putting this book out. Like, seriously, it's if you hadn't done it, we'd just be using second edition revised again. But either way, thank you very much for getting that out there, and thank you for the player base and to the community for the excitement we're getting for City of Palms. I am voivodemekhet, your eternal storyteller, and I will see you in the next video. Good evening.